All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Me here talking real music in real time for a few real people out there just like you, just like me. Another super slow day in the world of classic rock. Before I get to that, here's some great music. If you're a classic rock fan, if you like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, you should check out Voltage, Fortunes and Willows. I know Mike Campbell is out there. He's got his Dirty Knobs and all that. I really like this band. Music all the way from the Netherlands, and it's really good. So, Voltage. They have some other stuff out there as well, but this is their latest effort, again, called Fortunes and Willows. Showed up in my mailbox last week. I was like, wow, I've got music no one else has. Of course, you could stream it. Yeah, go ahead and stream it. Do what you're going to do. That's fine. But a pretty decent band. Now, Mr. Bungle. Who is Mr. Bungle? Are they a decent band? Well, I had to look it up because, I don't have the answers to all the questions. Some people think that I'm an expert on things, and I'm not. I just tell people I know what I know. Mr. Bungle is an American experimental rock band formed in Eureka, California in 1985. This, according to Wikipedia. And you can always rely on Wikipedia for the truth, right? They're truth tellers. Anybody can go on there and just, let me change this. It wasn't 1985. It was the fall of 1984. So Wolfgang, that's Wolfgang Van Halen, goes out there with Mr. Bungle to perform at this event. Now, again, this is part of the super slow news day here. Something called the Grass Pop Metal Meeting. Now, keep in mind, this is on classic rock websites. Wolfgang Van Halen doesn't perform classic rock. He performs alternative pop, power pop. I don't know what you would call it, but that's his style. Mr. Bungle obviously is not a classic rock band. Well, I just described what they are. They're an American experimental rock band formed in Eureka, California. And the two, I guess, came together at this grass pop metal thing and did Van Halen's Loss of Control. Now, if you're scratching your head and going, Loss of Control, where is that from? Man, you go back to Women and Children First, and you can hear Loss of Control, which is one of the worst Van Halen songs I think I've ever listened to. It's not a good song. Sorry. There's a lot of yelping and yelling and weird stuff going on in the song. Yeah, there's some interesting guitar on the track, but I'm thinking Ted Templeman said, what else you guys got? You guys got anything else I can put on here? There's got to be something else. And they gave him Loss of Control, which I don't know. If I were Ted, I would have said, you know what? Maybe we need to write another song. That's what I would have said. So anyway, the Mammoth WVH band leader, that would be Wolfgang Van Halen, handled all the lead guitar duties on the Women and Children First Thrasher. As whoever Mike Patton must be the lead singer of Mr. Bungle, yelped and barked in the spirit of David. When you say yelp and bark, you know where the song is going, right? You guys want to hear some yelping and barking? No, I'm kind of over the yelping and the barking. By the way, the performance is available to watch on YouTube and maybe some other places. Not sure. The band, Mr. Bungle, thanked Wolfie and said, we had a special guest join us for Loss of Control. Now, what's weird about Wolfie, right? By the way, Wolfie says, thanks for having me, dudes. Just can hear, even though he didn't say it out loud, it was on Instagram or Twitter. Thanks for having me, dudes. That's Wolfie for you. Wolfie keeps saying, in interviews, and I've covered this now for a few years, where I need to really distance myself from my father, and he was a thing over here, and I'm over here, and I don't want to piggyback on his legacy. And so there still has been no tribute. Somebody actually told me they think the reason for that is that Eddie Van Halen may have been a closet conservative. I don't No, I don't think so. Um, maybe, but I doubt it. Maybe that's why he and Dave didn't like each other, at various times during the whole Van Halen career. But I don't think it was politics, but it's a theory, right? It's like me and the theories that I have about certain things that are happening right now. You put the theory out there and people go, "You're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about." It's just the typical day here, you know, with me and responding to what people are saying all over the place. Um, but getting back to the whole Mr. Bungle thing, I mean, if you don't want to piggyback off of your dad's legacy, why are you out there doing this? Why are you performing Loss of Control, which again is not a good song? I mean, yes, it has some interesting guitar work in there, but there are, I don't know how many other Van Halen songs, like most all of them would be better than Loss of Control. Um, so yeah, Mr. Bungle has covered Loss of Control sporadically through the years, and it's even on their 2021 live album and video, which is called The Night They Came Home. I didn't even know. And by the way, this is on a classic rock website. All right. So two things are wrong with that. Number one, Mr. Bungle is not classic rock. Number two, Wolfgang Van Halen is technically not classic rock. But the fact that they're covering a classic rock song that shouldn't even receive airplay on a classic rock radio station is just, this just illustrates how far everything has kind of shifted and how it doesn't matter anymore about like if a country artist came along and started ripping through a Van Halen classic, would they cover it? Maybe. I don't know. But maybe it would be good enough to say something nice about, or maybe it would just be, hey, we don't really have anything to talk about. Wolfgang Van Halen, who's technically not in a classic rock band, and Mr. Bungle, who are definitely not a classic rock band, they teamed up and we're going to talk about it. And this is going to be interesting. This is happening pretty much all the time on these classic rock websites where you go and you want some classic rock content. And I guess the way they can justify this is, hey, Women and Children First, classic album. Here's a song from that album. Here's Wolfie, who said he wasn't going to perform his dad's stuff, and here he is again performing his dad's stuff. Hey, Wolfie, just go out on tour and do the stuff. Go out with Sammy. Sammy would have you. And Sammy, you could go out there with Joe Satriani, but no, that's not going to happen. And he'd only have to do it once. But again, he keeps saying, got to distance myself. I'm trying to make my own way and do my own thing. And yeah, he's doing that for the most part, except when he shows up and does Van Halen songs. So anyway, not a good song to cover. And the performance itself, I listened to it, is because I just don't like the song. If Eddie were here doing it, I'd be like, hey, Ed, you got a big catalog over here. Pull something off of that and just do that. Don't do this over here. This was a filler track on a pretty good album, but it was still filler. And so, hey, if you want to hear Wolfie doing some filler, that's the story. That's the classic rock story of the day. All right, here's Voltage. I'd rather go listen to Voltage, Fortunes and Willows. This is good. This is true classic rock, even though nobody's heard of it. And that's where we're at today, the off-brand, no name from different countries, things you've never heard before, are doing far better than the stuff that they cram down your throat in the news. Like, yeah, you got to hear this. No, I don't. I listen to it and I get where there's a news story, but it's just not good. But this is where kind of everything is going. Politics, culture, music. It's just all kind of going to a place that I don't know. It's just very mediocre. It's very mediocre, and people try to like build it up like it's something incredible, and then you go and find out, and you're like, oh, okay. Well, I'm just gonna go back to listening to my album collection from 1986, and or if you're from the 90s, maybe 1995. I don't know. I'm still an 80s guy, a 70s guy. I appreciate everything up until about 1992, when Nirvana showed up and Pearl Jam and all that stuff. Technically, it was like the fall of 91 when that stuff really got off the ground. But it didn't really take hold until maybe the end of 92. And then you knew this is it. This is the new frontier. They've destroyed the music industry. Didn't know it at the time, but bizarre. All these bands basically had to pack up, pretend they didn't exist. Dee Snider's out there talking about he went bankrupt twice. Who wanted to hear Twisted Sister in the 90s? Nobody. And they're not the best of the best, but I would prefer Twisted Sister over most of what was happening in the 1990s. Yes, I said that, and I'm not a fan of Dee, but Dee has to come to grips with some other issues. And just, if you're going to be rebellious, Dee, be rebellious. Don't make it just a stage thing. All right, I've gone off on a tangent, and sometimes my tangents are bad, and this one isn't the best. So thanks for watching. God bless everyone. Please pray for peace in the Middle East. Some really horrific news came in over the weekend about stuff that's happening in the Middle East. It's not good. It's not good. It seems as though things are getting worse rather than better. So we should pray for peace. I don't care about where you're at when it comes to politics on the whole situation there. Same thing with Ukraine. Pray for peace. Don't pray for more war. Don't pray that the people here in the United States send more weapons to people and spend your money on wars in other countries. That's a really stupid idea. And that's my somewhat firm opinion on the situation. Anyway, God bless. See you soon.